Dear Mr. Fahad, unfortunately you cannot come to IWA show this year, and therefore the IWA show comes to you exclusively by Umarex. Sit down, relax, and enjoy the new products which will be presented by our host Moritz. Stay healthy and enjoy the show.
Umarex, the world's largest manufacturer of over-the-counter firearm replicas, took matters into their own hands and brought IWA 2021 back to Nuremberg exclusively for you. So come with me if you want to learn about all their new products and take a look at the biggest booth of the show. Let's go. Hey guys, I welcome you to the IWA 2021 exclusively by Umarex video series here on Umarex TV. We're gonna show you all the relevant news, all the new products. Together with me on stage today is Armin. Armin, thank you for having me actually.
Yes, you're welcome.
Your classic segment, it stands for high quality air guns and air archery.
That's
something
right.
we are going to learn throughout the video, and we are going to start with a true highlight. It is the new Beretta M9a3.
Right.
Tell something about it.
Yeah. It is CO2 driven by a single 12-gram CO2 capsule. It is inside the magazine. Down here is a screw for it. You put it inside here. On the front side, you have the chamber for the steel BBs. It's chambered in 4.5 millimeter BB.
But it's not. It says 9mm para here.
Yes.
Something we're going to point out.
Oh, for sure. Of course, we have the inscriptions right like the original one to have most detailed gun on the market.
It is actually the first time that I see, or maybe in Germany, I don't know about the other countries, and the law might differ on there, but in Germany, to me, it's something new to have actually the responding or the true caliber of the real steel gun written on an air gun on the slide. So every collector is going to have a huge grin right
Yes.
now on his face. All right.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a black version of the normal M9a3, which is known by Beretta for the U.S. Army. This is a full black one. It is full metal. It has the metal slide and it has the metal grip and it has blowback. So the slide
it goes back and forth, right?
Back and forth, right.
So everyone who is into realism, and I might say it actually, would you mind handing me the magazine? So it actually does handle really well. It feels like it's almost the same weight. Of course, you can point it. Yes, it points just as naturally as the original does. And so I can believe this. Oh, see, you also have a threaded barrel, I can see.
Right, it is 40 millimeter counterclock.
Counterclock, all right. There it comes, all right. It even has oil on there.
Yep.
Good job. All right, the way it's supposed to be. All right, and you can see for the A3 version of the M9, we also have a rail down here.
Sure.
And I was always, well, the trigger is nice too. All right, let's now check the trigger reset. You can see my fingers traveling forwards, and there you had it already. Hold on, let me do that again. Now I'm pulling the trigger, I'm at the wall. There it goes. Now the reset, you can almost hear it. I'm gonna hold it next to my microphone, all right? Now the finger is traveling, it's traveling forward. There it was. That's a nice reset as well. It does have the same safety mechanism as the original. Of course, I was always wondering how you take them apart. Maybe, if you wouldn't mind, you can show us.
Sure. First, we take off the magazine, make the safety check, of course, and then, like the original one, turn down this lever and take the barrel apart. You see the spring, the barrel, and the nozzle, and in the same way you can. And there we are.
So also, just like the real deal, for people who maybe own already a Beretta, maybe not an M9, but a 92FS, so maybe those people want to use it for dry fire practice at home, they don't want to use their real gun, so this is also as close to the original,
right?
In terms of handling, and also in terms of optics. Okay. And I want to show you one more thing. Of course, it does come with the original Beretta markings on the grip. So this is it, guys. It's the new Beretta M9a3. And I was always wondering, what kind of calibers do you actually offer for this platform?
Yes, we have this platform in the same pistol in FDE color and black, and we have it in 4.5mm DBB, and we will see it later in the action corner in 6mm BB.
All right, guys, there you have it, the new Beretta M9a3. This is not the only highlight. We are going to show you another one right after this.
So, Moritz, here we have another gun. It is the Legends cowboy rifle Renegade. Some of our viewers may know the other cowboy rifles with wooden optic stock and of course the cartridges. This one is the more tactical one. You may have recognized the black stock and the big loop with paracord.
And
what do you think?
I think it's so colorful.
Yes, it is.
Would you mind me handling it?
Sure.
All right. So as we can see, and of course, as all your viewers know, there's a lot of Western shooting enthusiasts out there. And repeating rifles, while they've always been a classic and people tended to want one or want to own one themselves, I am among this group. We can see a couple of years ago there was a movie coming out with dinosaurs, and the hero of the movie, he happened to have a repeating rifle, and then all of a sudden you could see those new models or new versions of known models already came out and emerged from the market, and of course all of them, they follow the trend of being black, being tactical, looking, well, you could say badass, and it does actually, and it's, to me, it's also appealing to the eye. I am going to want one myself. I'm going to put this on a pile together with the other stuff that I'm going to put later on in my car. No, of course I'm joking. So for all the viewers who might not yet understand what the fascination about Western shooting or repeating rifles is, it's easy, let me show you. It is pretty much this sound. And this is not the only thing, because complementary to the sound, you also have the corresponding cartridges.
Right. May I show you?
Please, go ahead.
So it looks like the real one, but of course it's only the chamber for the steel BB. You put one steel BB inside of this, of each of this cartridge. Down here is the magazine, the tube, and you load the cartridge right like the real one. And you can load even more, up to 10.
Yes, I'm the loading assistant.
Sure.
It shows there right in the video in my title. So that's the last one. How many does it fit in the magazine? 10.
Now we have 5.
All right.
May you try?
Yes, I may. Thank you, Armin. So now you can see I chambered around, and after shooting, when I do like this, it actually falls out. And now you can see me grin. Everyone else, who's viewing is grinning as well. And this. All right, you have to take it because I could do this all day. So what are other features that you haven't mentioned before yet?
Yes, we have threaded barrel. This time it's half-inch UNF thread for silencers, because it's a tactical one. It has a Picatinny rail in metal, so you can mount point sights or optics. And the CO2 is inside here. Maybe I show it to you. It's very easy. You turn the button 90 degrees, take this off, and here you have the key for the screw, and you can unscrew it, insert 2 12-gram CO2 capsules.
All right.
Then put it back like this, turn it, and then, like you already shown, charge the cartridges and to have fun.
And you also have the big loop. Hold that into the detail, and the big loop is just like the real deal. It is threaded with paracord lining,
right,
for that extra black tactical appearance.
Right.
So guys, there already you have it, the Legends cowboy rifle Renegade with a badass black finish, all the tactical details you would want from a current repeating rifle, and this also includes their corresponding cartridges.
Right.
So the next product is aimed towards people who enjoy striker fire, carry guns. Of course, we're talking about the new Smith & Wesson M&P M2.0, chambered in 45 auto. You might think, no, I'm just kidding, it's an air gun. Show us something about it.
Yeah, sure. It is chambered in 4.5mm pellet, so it has threaded barrel. We have the 8-shot magazine, comes down inside here. Like the former version, it is driven by a 12-gram CO2 capsule, which comes inside here. Just open it, insert the CO2 capsule inside here, the 12-gram, and you can pierce it with this screw. And we have a safety on this side.
Not only do you have all the relevant markings, let me show on the camera, for example, the new serration lines on the front of the slide here and here. And also you have the textured grip.
Right.
And you have the rail, and you have everything that makes a Smith & Wesson M&P sexy.
Right. You may see it has single and double action trigger. You can pull back the slide to turn the rotary magazine inside and to pre-cock the trigger. And then you have only the short trigger resistance.
All right.
And of course you can shoot double action if you don't pull this back, and you can just shoot in double action, the 8-shot.
So guys, there you have it. Umarex went through great length to transform the new Smith & Wesson M&P 45 M2.0 into a 4.0 airgun.
So here we have a maybe known gun. It's a Walther PPQ. Many guys know them. It has 4.5 millimeter pellet caliber, threaded barrel. What is new? It has a chain magazine inside with 21 rounds. 21 rounds, and it also has blowback. So you have true action, but with 4.5 millimeter pellet.
So for those people who don't know, blowback actually means the slide while shooting, it goes back and forth just like, exactly, just like the real deal.
Right.
So would you mind me handling it?
Sure.
All right, first thing I noticed, the weight is pretty much the same as the original.
Right.
And it handles very well. You can see the slide serrations. I can do a chamber check, or I could even pretend to do a press check. It just works like the real deal. It has also the safety mechanism here on the trigger, as you can see. And I wanted to point out this, and you guys somehow made it a trend. You actually put the real caliber on the gun next to the Walther logo.
Yes.
And of course this gun is originally chambered in 9mm, but this one is chambered in 4.5 pellet. And you can see the F logo, which makes it sellable over the counter for people who are 18 years and above in Germany.
Right.
And I could think this might also be a good opportunity to do some dry fire practice. Right now ammo is pretty scarce. People do not, or at least they tend to, if they have ammo, they do not tend to go to the range because it is really hard to restock on ammo right now. So this might be, if you already own a Walther PPQ, this might be your opportunity to have the equivalent for a dry fire practice pistol.
Right.
I could do this all day. So move on to the next.
Okay, let's go on.
Ami, next up, Pcp Rifled.
Right. PCP tank included inside. It's the Walther Rain M2. We made something new. It has a massive barrel. It has the muzzle brake from the Walther Rotrex RM8. It is chambered in different calibers. We have it in different energy levels for the different markets. So you can get it for your country.
So the first thing I noticed is it's a bullpup design, which actually is significant because it looks like it's a short barrel, but the barrel actually, it goes all the way down here. So you're actually able to fit a long barrel into a much shorter gun. So I mean, please show our viewers how you can actually load it and operate it.
Yeah. We have the PCP tank included inside here. We have the pressure gauge here. We have the filling here.
What are the ways you can fill actually?
The filling adapter is included. You just insert it here, and then you can take a hose and maybe a pump, and you can pump it up. It takes around 5 minutes with sweat if you want to, or you can have the big bottle with compressed air with to fill it up. That's the source. And on the other side we have the pellet. We have the magazine inside here. We have the arrow for easy inserting.
All right.
We have the cocking lever here, cock it back, and you can take off the magazine. The magazine, I already mentioned, it is chambered, and the barrel also chambered in 4.5 millimeter, in 5.5 millimeter, or in 6.35 millimeter.
You guys got it all covered. Whatever you need for your country, Umarex provides you with the exact fit, so you have the right caliber with the right energy. And also, speaking of energy, I had the joy of shooting it actually earlier. I believe it was a prototype, and there were two things that struck my mind. First, I had a lot of fun, and then the second was, it was really loud shooting it actually.
Yeah, that's right. But you can also unscrew the muzzle brake, and you can screw on a silencer. It is threaded in 1/2 inch UNF, and we have the silencer for this.
So for all the viewers who are amazed now, wait till we show you the max energy variant of it.
Yes. Like I mentioned, we have even more energy, not only the 16 and the 19.9 for the countries. We had also a version which has much more power. Let me show you.
And we are going to show you now. Let's go. So, I mean, how much energy are we talking about?
Yeah, we are talking about up to 60 joules in caliber 5.5 millimeter pellet, or even up to 70 joules in caliber 6.35 millimeter pellet.
And it does have a longer barrel, I believe.
Yes, right. We need the longer barrel, the longer acceleration of the pellet. Of course, we need the longer barrel. It is 10 centimeters longer, so we have here 60 centimeters barrel. And the other one, the shorter one, has the 50 centimeter barrel.
So before we started taping this video, you showed me a cool feature for people who need, for example, an ambidextrous design because they are left-handed.
Right. We have the cocking lever here on the right side. This is the normal version like it is sold, but you can put it on the other side for the left-handed shooter, like you mentioned. And you can also insert the magazine from both sides.
All right. So no matter whether you're a left-handed or right-handed, you can even put the magazine from your preferred side into the gun. So please show us how to cycle this gun, how to operate it, how to shoot it.
Yes, sure. I load the magazine, I put the pellets inside here, and then it is spring operated. So like I said, you have different calibers. We have 11 pellets in the 4.5 millimeter. We have 10 pellets in the 5.5 millimeters, and we have 9 pellets for the 6.35 millimeter caliber. You insert this with the arrow to the front, right here, close it, and now you can shoot.
This is actually pretty loud.
One thing I forgot to tell you, for the UK market, we have the 11 millimeter rail, because the guys like to have the 11 millimeter rail for the scopes. All the other countries, they get the Picatinny rail.
So guys, there you have it, the Walther Rein M2 with all the variants for all the matching countries in terms of caliber and energy.
Right.
I'm in pretty new field of interest we're coming to now. We're talking about airgun archery. I didn't even know that was a thing till you guys handed me one earlier and I was able to shoot it. I can say already it's a lot of fun, but please take away, show us what you have there.
Yeah, we have here the Umarex Air Javelin. It is driven by an 88 gram CO2 capsule, which comes in right here, and it shoots arrows like this. Those are carbon arrows. They are just put over a tube, right, like this, and then just put it a little bit deeper so it is engaged and they don't come off. You need a cock for each shot.
All right.
And you can shoot. The stock is extractable and you can mount the lever for cocking on both sides.
So for left-handed and right-handed people, first thing that actually catches my eye, this is an AR-inspired stock. So for all the people who maybe own already an AR-15 platform, you will feel right at home with this. Not only it has the stock which can be changed to 3 positions, you also have the rail on top, you have an M-lock system on the side, and of course this means if you already have optics or sights that you prefer, of course you can easily mount them on here as well.
Right.
So I mean, how much energy are we actually talking about?
So this one is CO2 driven. It has round about 100 joules. The arrows, they have a weight of 11 gram and they fly with up to 295 feet per second.
As I mentioned earlier, I had the joy of shooting it already, and it's a lot of fun. It's actually pretty impressive how much energy you can create or how much energy you can use to shoot those arrows, and it points very well. It feels like if you have a rifle or maybe, as I pointed out, an AR-15, you'll feel right at home with this gun right off the bat. The Umarex Air Javelin. So we are back to the PCP sector of the classic segment of Umarex. I mean, please give us a rundown. I can see it's the Umarex Air Saber and it looks solid, I might say.
Yes, it's much bigger than the Air Javelin. It is driven by PCP, you already mentioned. We have the gauge here. For the pressure, we have the filling hole here to fill up the internal tank for the PCP. The arrow, it is a 24 gram arrow, of course made of carbon too.
So, but it's longer than the ones that are used for the Javelin, right?
It's longer and it's heavier. And because of the high pressure of 250 bar, we have an energy of 150 joule. We have the arrow weight of 24 gram and it travels at 495 feet per second.
So that's pretty impressive. It's called air archery. I did not really know it before I got to your company and you guys invited me to shoot it, and I also got the opportunity to shoot this one. If you mind.
Sure.
And guys, seriously, it looks as solid and also it brings true weight to the system. And you can really talk about a bull barrel right here. Of course, I'm just joking. You can see the rails on the side, on either side actually. Hold on, let me show into the detail. And also there's a rail below. So whatever your preferred attachments are, you can put them on there easily. And maybe you already have a rifle, maybe somewhat in the lines of Remington 700. And if you own these rifles already, then you know this mechanism is already known to you. It really points, cocks, and cycles as easy. And Armin, tell us something about the optic that is included in the package.
Yes, right. It's a 4x32 optic. Magnification is 4. You have the reticle for archery. It has the upper line, which is adjusted to 30 meters, and each next line below gets up to the next 10 yards.
Which is already a thing in archery. So there you go, by the common rules of optics that are used for archery. And guys, look at it. Look at the finish. And I also like the green you went along with the polymer stock system. Look at this. It's really a beauty. It's heavy. You can say it's heavy. It has a weight. It's really, it has the appearance more of a rifle than an archery rifle, you have to say.
Right.
All right, guys, there you have it. The Umarex Air Saber. I'm going to put this on a pile. I'm going to take this one with me. If you guys are into revolvers, or rather into action movies, retro action movies, and classic revolvers, Umarex got you covered. Armin, tell us why.
Yes, it's a Smith & Wesson M29 in caliber 4.5 millimeter BB, driven by a 12 gram CO2 capsule. It's a full metal version.
And it is gorgeous, I might say. I was just picking up mine as you were pointing out the features to your viewers. I mean, look at this finish on the barrel and on the drum. You have the original markings.
Sure.
So it's somehow already qualified to be something of a collector's item already. And those are adjustable sights, right?
Right. You maybe know this gun from a very famous movie.
Very famous movie.
Yeah, I think so. And in the movie they used the 6.5 barrel length and the 8.83 inch barrel. They used both.
All right.
On the set. And of course we have a short one. This is the 3-inch one, and even this one weighs more than 1,000 grams.
I was going to say it's quite heavy though.
Yeah.
Points well actually, but I think the quiet star of the system is, right, these. You're using cartridges,
right,
in which you can insert the BB bolts, right? So all the handling, whether it's reloading or unloading, it's all very, very close to the real steel version, right?
Right.
So it also, you could say you could use that for dry fire practicing at home.
Yes.
But of course, you guys also thought about this. There's a speed loader available.
Yes. That's right. That's a speed loader. And once you have shot the 6th shot, you just put inside speed loader, and there you go.
So you can truly practice dry firing, but also dry reloading and unloading at home.
Right.
Guys, you can see the M29 Smith & Wesson classic revolver in 3 different barrel lengths. Caliber is 4.5 millimeter BB bolts.
Right. We have the energy of 3 joule.
I was actually wondering, because you guys also have a cowboy repeating rifle.
That's right.
Are those interchangeable for those?
Yes, yes. We have 1 cartridge for each caliber, for the caliber 4.5 steel BB and for caliber 6mm BB, we see later maybe. And they are interchangeable, so all of the guns have the same cartridge.
So how many can you buy in bulk of these? Do they come for 6 shots or?
They come in 10.
In 10.
In a set of 10, because we have many cowboy action shooters, and they ask for a bigger amount in the package to get a better price and to have better overview, and that's really better.
So where does the CO2 go into?
The CO2 is inside the grip. You just take off one handle, and there you have the tool for the screw to pierce the CO2 cartridge. So the tool is inside of the handle and you cannot lose it.
So exactly, so you have it always with you when you need it, instead of maybe in your pocket or in your rucksack or somewhere where it probably doesn't belong. And of course, I'm going to show once again, you have the original markings, right? For every collector, that's an important thing. You have the official license. It is here on the grip, it's on the system, and it's on the barrel as well. Guys, there you have it, the M29 with original markings, but also with original handling from Umarex. We're still talking about CO2 revolvers, this time about a modern classic. Armin, tell us.
Yes, it's a Smith & Wesson 629 Classic. It is chrome optics and it has the nice rubber handles.
And you can also see the original Smith & Wesson markings on the system. Yeah, guys have it on the grip. You have a nice chrome finish going on there. This is 19 action movie era kind of style, right?
Right.
And of course you have my favorite feature, which are, as you guys can see, these. Armin, tell us about them.
We have cartridges. They are looking like real bullets, but of course they aren't. They are hollow inside and you can insert the steel BB from the backside. There's a rubber chamber to hold them secure. And then you insert them into the revolver drum and you can shoot them.
So everyone who wants to practice dry firing, dry loading, reloading, unloading, all those different moves, you can do this at home perfectly safe, even if you don't have a revolver so far and you plan on buying one. You can now get the original handling and the true to nature handling style of the real steel counterpart, and you don't even have to reload them by hand because you guys also have a speed loader.
Right. We have the same speed loader like for the Smith & Wesson M29, and of course it also fits the 629 Classic.
And you guys have adjustable sights. There's a screw here and there's a screw hidden in there. And what I'm going to try next is, because it points well, I'm going to test the trigger. All right, so this is double action, right? So, and of course you can also pre-cock it and then shoot single action. I've actually had the joy of shooting these before. You showed them to me when I visited your company, and it's a lot of fun. And although you have to reload each cartridge again after you shoot them, you don't have to instantly take out and put another CO2 capsule in there.
That's right, you can shoot up to 160 shots with one CO2.
Show us where the CO2 goes.
CO2 is in the same position like in the Smith & Wesson M29. It's covered here inside the grip, and on the handle there is the tool, same like at the M29, to screw to pierce the CO2 cartridge.
Armin, thank you for presenting the 629 Classic to your viewers. Welcome to IWA 2021 exclusively by Umarex, here on Umarex TV, together with Armin. Armin, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We are going to look into all the latest products of your defense segment.
Right.
And we are going to dive right in. You have the HDX here.
Right. It's top on point now on the HD series. It's the Home Defense Series Extreme, this time in caliber 68.
So it looks extreme, it's a shotgun obviously. So tell me, what did you guys think when you designed this piece?
We wanted to have an extreme one. It is a little bit out of this. It's not a fully polymer body. Mm-hmm. It's more the heavy gun. It's a metal gun.
It is. It's solid.
It's solid, right? And we have this time we have 2 times 12 gram CO2 in a quick piercing system.
Why is that? Why did you choose two capsules?
Well, in 2 capsules we have more power. We can create more power, more velocity, more energy on the bullet.
And it actually comes with the established feature of the quick piercing system, and you are going to demonstrate it right now.
Yes, sure. The CO2 is in the stock. I just take off the stock, and here you have the tube. I just open it. I insert the first one with a small side in front, and the other one with the small side in the other way. Just fix it. And now the trick is, and all you guys know it from the other products in the HD series with quick piercing, the CO2 capsules are not yet pierced.
It is to avoid leaking CO2, right? So
right.
if you, for example, if you load it with CO2, but then you pierce it and then you put it back into wherever and you store it, maybe then the one time it actually comes that you want to use it or you need it, the CO2 might be gone, or maybe there's just a little bit left in the tank, and that's not making sense at this point. So you guys developed a feature where you can actually store it in the gun, but also where you can have it pierced with a quick and handy move, and that's what you are going to show us right now.
Right, that's a fantastic point on this. The pressure is still inside and you can just pierce it when you need it. And I will show you this, how it works. I just put the stock on it, and now you think about how can I pierce it? Well, very simple. Here on the back side, you see this button, it came out 0.5 centimeter, and that's the point where I need to push with a light beat.
And before you do it, we're going to see that this actually, so this is the indicator that actually tells us whether the CO2 capsule is pierced or not. So right now we can see it's not pierced.
Right.
Right. And now...
Maybe you beat?
Shall I?
You should.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just punch it. I could also choose to stomp it on the ground or on something solid, but with this, just to demonstrate it, I'm just going to...
Yeah.
All right, now you can see it came out. It is red for an optical indication, but it comes out so I can feel it with my thumb. So if I were to be in a self-defense scenario or in a scenario where it's really dark and I cannot see, I cannot make it out with my bare eye, then I can just move my thumb above it and then I feel, all right, the CO2 capsule is ready to go.
Right, it's pierced and you can depend on it. And now the feature of loading.
All right.
Okay. First, maybe as we say, it's a pump gun. Yes, you make like this for cocking the gun. Now it is cocked. I need to fire it one time because I cannot cock it another time. So please don't be surprised on it.
It is. I'm just jumping in. It's because you guys are doing IWA all by yourself. This means we are in this huge hall, but we're the only booth. So there is actually a hall, which makes it even louder than it already is.
Yes, that's the point. So we open the loading chamber, and you can see here it's an orange forwarder. Yeah, and you know, if you see the orange forwarder, you know the magazine is empty. To fill it up, it's very easy. Here we have a hidden loading tool. It's inserted here. And
now I hand you the ball.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And now I can insert the balls one after the other until the 16 balls are all in the magazine tube.
So you say it's 16?
16. We need to say we have different energy levels for this, for the different markets where, which has different laws, with different gun laws. For example, for Germany, we have the 7.5 joules.
That's on the lower level.
That's on the lower level. We have the 16 joules.
For markets like Austria, for example.
For Austria, for example, for Poland and other countries in Europe. And we have the top of the line, it is 40 joules, but the 40 joule has a 88 gram capsule in the stock. The 88 gram capsule cannot be pierced by an emergency system because it is screwed, and once you pierce it, the system is under pressure. But if you want to shoot it with a quick piercing systems, you can get the optional 2x 12 gram quick piercing tube to install it. But of course, with a 2x 12 gram, you cannot reach the 40 joules.
You're not going to get the energy of it, right?
Because the 40 joule is only be available with the big 88 gram capsule.
So, I mean, do you mind me handling one more time?
Sure.
All right, because maybe we're going to show it right now. Is what actually happened is that you guys invited me to shoot this at your company in Germany, and I actually very much enjoyed it. And I even said, even for people who do not think of using this non-lethal system in a home defense scenario, that it is still very, very relevant and fun to shoot, for example, for plinking.
Right.
So if I look at it and I want to give it more, once more a rundown. So we have this rail on top, which means that if I already own a firearm, for example, a rifle, and I can change out the sights, maybe different backup iron sights that I already have, or a red dot. I can see that if I have an attachment that, for example, that fits an M-lock system, all right, then it's also covered here. We can see there's a rail on the bottom of the handguard, and we can see, let me see, yes, exactly. Yeah, there's a swivel swing already, and it's ambidextrous. As you can see, it is on both sides. And one more thing that actually caught my eye was, and I'm going to turn it around, look at this massive muzzle brake. And it actually, you cannot feel it, but let me tell you, it feels as aggressive as it looks. And it's also made of metal, right?
Yes.
That is not polymer.
Right.
All right. Guys, the HDX, HD stands for Home Defense, X stands for Extreme, which this solid piece of shotgun truly is the HDX by Umarex. If you happen to own an HDR revolver already, you might be interested in what's coming up next.
Right. We have the HDR 50 here. Looks very normal, like always. We have a new emergency clip. It is preloaded with rubber and with pepper balls, and it has a paper which is pre-perforated paper to avoid any contact with the pepper ball, and also to get lost of the balls if you have this on your pocket.
So this is obviously a spare magazine that prevents the loaded ammunition from falling out.
Right. That's very simple, and like I said, it's pre-loaded, and of course, if it's empty, if you shot all, you can use it as a normal spare magazine.
So, all right, so you can use it again, but you said it comes pre-loaded, and you said it's loaded with rubber and pepper balls.
Right.
So, and what I think is there's a spacing between each of them, right?
Right. It's always pepper, rubber, pepper, rubber, pepper, rubber.
But if you don't own an HDR already, Armin is going to show you how easily you can put the magazine back into the gun.
Right. So here is the star. It's just inserted like this, and then you release this pin and it's loaded.
I mean, for those who are not accustomed to the HDR, please, would you mind explaining the launcher a little quick?
Ah, yes, sorry. It is the mounted launcher. It is mounted on the lower Picatinny rail, and you just push it on like this. It is for pepper spray and pepper gel. This time it is the training capsule.
Which is water, I believe, right?
Which is water, right?
Which is water.
And you can spray to up to 3 to 4 meters.
So if I, for example, I'm in a self-defense scenario, I ran out of bullets, still my adrenaline is high up, maybe I didn't hit the target right away, I still have this as a backup option.
Right.
Emergency spare magazines for the HDR by Umarex. At IWA 2021, exclusively by Umarex. I'm standing here with Dom. Dom, thanks for having me.
Welcome, Albert.
And together we are going to kick off the airsoft portion of our video series. And we are going to start off with a true highlight, I might say. Dom, what do we have here?
Here we have our first product. It's the Heckler & Koch MG4 as an AEG airsoft.
So when you say, for those who might not know, what does AEG stand for?
Automatic electric gun.
So we're talking about a light machine gun that can actually shoot, for our German viewers, in full auto.
Correct. Also for the other countries, we have the possibility to shoot full auto. As the original, we have a 2-position grip with 2 functions, safe and full auto.
So Dom, what are the features you guys took care of to make this one as close to the real steel counterpart as possible?
Of course, as you can see, we have an original scale model.
And it's also heavy.
It's heavy, pretty heavy. We're talking about 4.2 kilograms.
That's solid.
You can see the box mag in the front. We're talking about a filling of 4,000 shots.
4,000, all right.
But also you can use the whole gun without the box mag. You have another little mag on top.
When you say little, you don't mean little, right?
No, not really.
I can see because you're smiling.
950 shots.
So this is basically 1,000 plus 4,000.
Correct.
So in order for you guys to see this, Dom, please give us a rundown. How does the internal magazine actually work?
On top you have this little slide. You pull it back and then you can fill up to 950 BBs. Push there, magazine is closed and you can use it.
So it's 1,000 plus 4,000. So what battery pack did you guys need to use, or what battery pack are you guys using in order to shoot this many bullets?
We recommend a LiPo battery pack.
So this gun is LiPo ready.
Correct.
All right, so it's 4,000, it's LiPo ready. What are the other features of the gun?
Of course, we have a foldable carry handle.
Just like the real deal.
Here you can adjust the shoot up. And of course, the stock is fully foldable.
And you guys have this awesome bipod, which can actually, hold on, we're gonna muzzle the entire camera crew. Which can actually be folded inside the handguard.
Of course, if you don't need it, just fold it into the handguard.
And suddenly it's a subcompact light machine gun. I'm just kidding. So you crazy people at Umarex, you actually did it. You developed the first prototype of the MG4
Correct.
by Heckler & Koch with original markings, everything that makes the collector's heart beat faster. And this is not the only highlight we are going to present you here at IWA 2021, exclusively by Umarex. So for all precision shooting airsoft enthusiasts, Umarex has got you covered. Dom, show us what you got.
Here we have the Heckler & Koch PSG-1 as a gas blowback airsoft.
With original markings.
Correct.
You guys actually achieved the ultimate goal of being as close as possible to the real steel. So you actually managed that all those screws that made the PSG-1 so famous because you could adjust it to the needs of the shooter, you actually also made this work on an airsoft level.
Yeah, of course. And as you can see, it's an original scale model. And it's pretty heavy. We're talking about 5.2 kilograms.
So there's a rail on top. It sits right above the forward assist button. What is the energy we're talking about?
We're talking about 1 joule. And on top you have this little rail. You can screw it off and mount the original scope.
If you're able to afford it. The original scope, that's pretty expensive stuff. And as I mentioned earlier, all the things that are adjustable in the real steel version are also adjustable in this airsoft model. So we're not only talking about the adjustable cheek piece or the adjustable grip, we are also talking about, look at this, an adjustable trigger. Dom, one very specific thing about the PSG-1 as well as about the MP5 is that it's not an open bolt system.
Correct.
So you can actually, after you fire your last shot, the bolt doesn't stay open automatically. But for the airsoft segment, there are some situations where you actually, for cleaning purposes, or if you have to do something with the mechanics, you might run into a situation where you actually need to dry fire.
Correct. It's the same on the airsoft version like on the real steel version, but to avoid problems with that, we just take out the magazine and show it. Of course, we managed to pull off a mechanic that allows you to dry fire.
All right, and sits right within the magazine.
Correct.
Guys, there you have it for all your airsoft precision needs. And if you have this retro tendency for retro beauties, such as the PSG-1, Umarex got you covered as well. So welcome back to the Heckler & Koch Days here live at IWA 2021 exclusively by Umarex. I'm just kidding. We are still in the airsoft world, which is called action here at Umarex, and we're talking about the new MP5. Dom.
Here we have our new Mp5 A3 in version 2. This model is the German version. In the export version, we will have, of course, a full position grip, which means we have safe, single shot, burst, and full auto.
And full auto. So this is the German model. Of course, it has only safe and semi-fire. But it has all the features that make the MP5 so iconic. So we are talking about the true to the original sights and the original banana magazine that holds 30 BBs. And with this model, we have this iconic sliding stock, which makes it a lot more compact. And we have the cocking lever, which transforms everyone who owns it into a 90 action hero movie star. And by the way, I just found out this is really high quality polymer. It's really true to the original, and this is also full metal.
Yeah, this is a steel stamping body, and we have a weight of 2,890 grams.
Guys, there you have it, the new H&K MP5 gas blowback by Umarex. If you are an airsoft player who needs a backup gun for his backup gun, then Umarex got you covered with the new Smith & Wesson M29C.
Here we have a 14 rounds gas blowback pistol. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the real steel version.
It even has the original markings of the true real steel caliber on top, look at here. And it has all the relevant markings, which makes it also very interesting for collectors. So these are the medium size, I believe. And you can see it's also ambidextrous, right? So you can see slide release button on the right, on the left as well. So what is the energy we're talking about here?
We're talking here about 1 joule, and the whole gun has a weight of 569 grams.
So also here it's pretty close to the original. Look at this, that's a short rail.
Yeah.
And it even has the magazine with where you can actually, because it's a subcompact gun, that actually has this space to fit your pinky on top of it, right? So, all in all, if you need a backup gun or a collector's item for the new Smith & Wesson M29C, Umarex might just have the thing for you. And now we are talking about revolvers, more specifically the Elite Force Hater Gen 2.
Yeah, of course. We have a CO2 powered revolver here. We're talking about around about 1 joule.
All right.
It comes with 2 magazines, and the magazines will have a capacity of 10 shots, 10 rounds.
And it looks like this. It fits 10 rounds, and you can just insert them like this, and then you snap that, and then you're ready to go. The CO2 capsule is in the grip, I suppose?
Correct.
Maybe you show us how this works.
You can take on the left side the grip off and have integrated the hex key to screw in the CO2 capsule.
And it has fiberglass optics.
Yeah, of course. As the first version too.
And it looks like this. It has the rail on top and below here. Why did you guys go with 1 joule energy?
1 joule is the most accepted energy on airsoft playgrounds.
So if you look for something out of the ordinary, look no more, because now you can get the new Elite Force Hater Gen 2 in white. Still talking about airsoft, now talking about maybe one of the most iconic Italian handguns in the world. We're talking about the Beretta M9a3 FM.
For full metal.
FM for full metal. We have it here in FDE and in all black finish. And same as with almost all your products, now you have the original caliber of the real steel version here written on the slide. And of course, if we turn it around, you have all the original markings on the slide and here also on the grip. You have the original safety, which operates just like the original.
Ambidextrous, correct?
It is a full steel version of this handgun, so it's pretty heavy. How heavy is it?
We're talking about 1,065 grams.
So this is already pretty close to the original. It's a threaded barrel.
Correct. 40 millimeters left-handed thread. And not to forget, we have a 22 rounds CO2 powered magazine.
You can see it here, but where does the CO2 go?
On the bottom.
And you can see that here. And while handling it, you can see also, and I'm going to show it to the camera, look at this checkering here at the back and in front of the grip. And it really comes with all the features just like the real steel model. So it's also very interesting for collectors, just as you have to say almost all your products nowadays. Yeah. So to finish up, what energy levels are we talking about?
We're talking about 1.3 joules.
And there you have it, the new Beretta M9a3 FM, which stands for full metal in FDE finish and all black finish. And for all your revolver, or rather retro revolver enthusiasts, Umarex got you covered. Dom, show us.
Here we have the Smith & Wesson M29 and then in the 8/3/8 inch version. Also we have it in 6.5 inch. And of course you got the short one.
Of course.
3-inch version.
I think it was featured in a popular movie. Can't remember the name though. But as always, besides the high gloss finish, the original markings, you have my favorite feature. It is actually these 6mm cartridges that you can put a 6mm BB into it.
Yeah.
And then you can load it just like the real deal. So if you want to, maybe if you want to practice dry firing at home, you can do all those little movements. You can do unloading, reloading, right? And in order not to be as slow as I am, you guys also have a speed loader, right?
Correct.
So if you compare it to the 4.5mm version, it's actually, you can see it, it's a rather bigger hole in the cartridge, but also look at the barrel. That makes it, I think this might actually make this model even more interesting for collectors, because even the barrel is more close to the original.
Yes.
Besides that, you got actually adjustable sights.
Correct.
You can see it on top and in there. And of course, besides the high glass finishing, you have the original markings, right? On the system, you have it on the grip, and even on the barrel. Let me try the trigger. There goes double action. And there goes single action. I actually visited your company and you guys invited me to shoot those. They are really fun to shoot, I must say. Dom, when I think of airsoft guns, there's always a feature where you can actually adjust the spin of the bullet, but that's a revolver. So how did you guys do that?
That's correct. On top of the barrel, we have a little hole where we can adjust the shoot up to let the BB rotate backwards. And also what we forgot is a cool feature. We built the CO2 piercing tool directly into the grip.
I don't believe you.
Of course.
Now you have the short barrel.
Of course, you can take off the left side of the grip. And there you find the hex key to screw in your CO2 capsule.
All right, it's the M29 airsoft version. You also have a 4.5 BB version. You guys can figure out which version you want, whether it's 4.5 or 6mm. Also, you get 3 different barrel lengths. And look at it, it's a beauty. I think I'm gonna take this one with me. Thank you, Dom, for presenting the M29. And we get to the final highlight of Umarex Action World. It's also a revolver. It is pretty much the dream of every 90s action hero, or at least action movie fan. Show us, Dominic, what do we have here?
Here we have the Smith & Wesson 629 in a 5-inch version. and now you get the big gun in the 6.5 version.
So I think this also smells like palm tree and coconut oil, but let's talk about the high gloss finish. So you have the markings on the barrel, on the system, and also, look at this, on the grip, which are actually made of rubber. So it points and shoots very well. I've actually had the opportunity to shoot those and try those at your company. What energy levels are we talking about?
Here we're talking about 3 joules.
3 joules, that's a lot of juice, but it's also CO2 powered, and it's also in the grip. Would you mind showing us?
We have on the left side a possibility to take off the grip. There you have the hex key, which allows you to screw in a CO2 capsule without additionally tools.
And then you have something that actually differentiates your product from the real steel version is you were forced to implement a safety, right?
Correct.
So how does that work?
That's pretty easy at this point. You just can push it backwards, and now the trigger is locked.
So there you have it, the 629, the Smith & Wesson Classic. Well, maybe even my all-time favorite revolver, as I'm a big fan of 90 action movies. As I pointed out earlier, we have the chrome finish, we have all the markings, we have rubber grips, we have the integrated tool to pierce the CO2 capsules, we have adjustable sights, and we have badass, stunning looks, I might say. Dom, thank you for guiding us through the action world of Umarex, showing us all the products. Thank you for your time, man.
Thank you, Moritz.
So I'm here at IWA 2021 exclusively by Umarex on Umarex TV together with Mark. Mark, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, Moritz.
So IWA is usually referenced with top highlights and top industry news, and this is why we are going to start with actually a highlight within your Explore segment, which actually features knives and also flashlights. But let's forget about the flashlights. Let's go all the way to the knives directly. What do you have for us?
Yeah, talking about highlights, we have definitely one highlight which is worth to be mentioned first. It's the Q5 steel frame folder. So this is a new tactical knife which is designed after the overall shape and overall design of the Q5 steel frame handgun.
Which was launched, I think, 2019, also here at IWA.
That's correct. That had been the steel version, which has been launched at that time. And we incorporated a lot of design features and technical features of that handgun into this knife now.
All right, I'm hooked.
Okay, so let's start with the obvious thing. We are talking about a steel frame folder. So we got a full steel handle, which has the frame lock on the back side.
All right.
You know, the frame lock is the blade lock, which is pretty similar to the liner lock, but the difference is that the frame lock is only one piece, which means there's no separate part for the liner. It's one piece, one solid piece with the handle scale itself.
All right, I get it. So basically, this version of the lock is basically a built-in liner lock.
Yeah, you could call it like that.
All right.
Absolutely. So the disengaging of the lock is pretty easy. Just push it to the side and close the blade, and that's the way it works. Pretty much known already.
All right, Mark. So please give us a rundown on, because you mentioned there are features that are actually correlated to the gun itself, that are not only optical, but they also make sense in a way.
Absolutely. I think this is a very important part. If you're looking at a knife like that, not only putting design things on it, but to install things, to incorporate things which make sense. The first thing is the handle overlay. We have a one-piece overlay which is made of FRN, fiberglass reinforced nylon. And you see this is a one-piece handle overlay which is designed the same way the handgun handle scale is made. So it's kind of a U shape which is attached from above, and it shows also the exactly the same structure like the Q5 handle does.
It is exactly the same pattern. I'm amazed.
Absolutely. And talking about handle patterns, of course, if you're looking at the handgun, you do not only have the handle scales with their specific structure, you also have the checkering, which is always on the front end of the handle. So if you see this as a pistol handle, you would just grab it like that for shooting, and you see the checkering, which is right away on the front side of the handgun and on the front side, or in this case, on the belly side of the handle, which means you have a lot of grip exactly in that area where you really need it.
So these patterns, this checkering, actually, they do make sense even on the knife, because when you use them on pistols, they're usually to prevent moving your grip or letting your grip loose because of sweating, for example, or because of wetness from rain. And it actually makes sense to have features like this also on the grip of a knife.
Absolutely. So we just noticed we have a lot of grip over here, we have a lot of grip over here. So what we need a little bit more for support is some notches on the handle spine, on the blade spine, sorry. So if you grab it like that, you can pull your thumb on the thumb ramp, and with the notches right here, you have a slip-proof surface which enhances tough cuts or tough cutting cores like whittling or cutting some thicker things, whatever. You can put a lot of pressure with your thumb on the blade to make your cutting effective.
So while we're talking earlier, before we started taping this video, you also showed me another feature that is also in relation to the Walther Q5 steel frame, which is also a very nice feature because it's not only an optical resemblance to the gun, no, it even has the same pattern. What is it?
I guess you're talking about the thumb stud of this knife.
I'm exactly talking about
which you need for opening the blade. It's a dual-sided thumb stud, so you can use it with both hands, left-handed or right-handed. And the structure and the surface pattern of the thumb stud is exactly the same like the magazine release button from the handgun. So Walther designed this button because it makes a lot of sense to make it that way. We just took it 100% like it is and put it right here to open the blade just with your left hand or with the right hand.
Because you decided this might also be a slippery element of the knife, and just as Walther decided to make it a rifle pattern because it might prevent you from slipping off, it also makes sense on this knife as well.
One very essential quality of a knife is the quality of the blade, which means, as a important part of it, the quality of the steel. So while we are using 440C as the blade steel, as the main blade steel for the Walther pocket knives and fixed blades, we were not really happy with, well, we didn't feel that 440C would be sufficient for this kind of knife, so we are using D2, which is a pretty tough tool steel with a Rockwell hardness between 58 and 60. And that means you have a lot of edge retention. It means the knife stays longer sharp than a 440C knife, for example. It's very durable, it's pretty break-proof, and it just gives you an enhanced performance of the blade overall. You can say it like that pretty much easily.
Which is funny because there was once a time where 440C steel was just top-notch in the industry, but of course, as everything else, things tend to improve. Also, with the steel, this is why you decided that suddenly for this product, 440C might not be the thing to go. Instead, you also upped your game with the quality of the steel.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with 440C, but if you have a higher expectation on the knife, something above 440C suits pretty good.
Earlier we were talking about a feature that is not right inside. If you look closely, you might be able to find it. It is actually built in within the grip.
Oh yeah, what you see is what you not see. We are talking about the lanyard hole.
Exactly.
And normally you're attaching a lanyard to a knife for two purposes. One is to enhance the handling of the knife because it's kind of an extension of the handle. That's one thing. And the other thing is it helps you drawing the knife out of your pocket. Normally the lanyard hole is a hole right here in the handle scale, so you see it from the side with a traditional knife, but in this case we just put it the other end in, so you can attach the lanyard from the back side, getting through the top spacer, and so you have your lanyard right away to the back end, and it doesn't disturb the overall shape and the overall silhouette of the knife.
Really nice. So it gives you all the features of a knife that actually features a lanyard hole, but instead with this one it is hidden within the grip.
Absolutely. One last feature to be mentioned, or almost the last, is that the knife is ambidextrous. I already mentioned the ambidextrous thumb stud, which means both guys, left-handed and right-handed, can use the knife pretty easy. And these two holes are just meant for the reversible clip, so you can take the clip off this side and put it to this side to make sure the knife has the right orientation sitting in your pocket, even if you're a left-hander or right-hander.
You can hear all the lefties in the comment section. They go, yeah, someone thought of me, actually. Yeah. But it's also the same within the firearm world. Things tend to be ambidextrous. And so also with you guys, this is actually, well, we could say this is the new normal for knives, right?
It's a tendency, as long as it doesn't compromise in a too harsh way to one of both. It's definitely a good way to keep things like that, because it ambidextrous thumb stud doesn't hurt, the threads on the front side doesn't hurt, so it's an easy thing to fix this and make it a good knife for both guys, left and right hand.
So Mark, I was trying to touch the fact that you guys actually also did not up your game. Of course, you upped your game with the quality and all the features of this knife, but this actually led you guys to also make the transition into another price segment. So when we're talking about an upper price segment, what are we talking exactly? Is this, what's the range for it?
Basically, we're not talking about specific prices right here, but I can tell you that with this knife, we are staying pretty much below the €100 limit retail price.
All right.
So it's still a pretty good price-performance ratio, I can say that definitely. It's a lot of bang for your buck, if I may say it like that.
That's a nice expression.
And that's what we think it's a new direction we're aiming for, because our knives, our Walther knives, are known for their good price point so far, and they're known for their good quality. But I have the strong feeling that we need to step up a little and enter other price ranges and other quality ranges as well. And this is the first step, and others will follow. And talking about following, of course, we have another version of that.
I was going to say that because, as you know, the Walther Q5, it's a very famous pistol, but of course it comes with in a lot of different, not shapes, but colors definitely. So also, of course, you guys came up with something else. Please guide us through what is the difference and what is in common with both versions.
It's a pretty easy answer on that, because the handle is exactly the same.
All right.
The only difference between these two knives is the blade configuration and the blade finish. Blade configuration means we don't have a full plain blade, but we have a partial serrated blade, which means we have the serrations in the back part of it, which are not meant as a saw for wood. It's primarily meant for cutting fibrous materials like belts or ropes or webbing, or even mountaineers, alpinists use it like that if they have to cut a rope pretty fast, or parachuters or whatever. So there's a huge wide variety of cutting tasks which are performed much better with a serrated blade than with a plain blade. And the second thing, of course, because our blades have a slight tendency to be on the black side, so we added a black blade coating on that one just to give it a different impression.
Well, so guys, there you have it. We already started with a big highlight with it, the sharp universe of the Walther Umarex Cosmos.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the Walther Q5 knife, it does not only come with features for just the sakes of having good looks. No, it's also the way it should be, where form actually follows function.
Absolutely.
All right, can't wait to see what you cook up next.
Okay, let's go for that.
So Mark, the next product is more about maybe the oldest locking, or should I say non-locking mechanism in the knife universe. Tell us something more about it.
Yeah, you nailed it pretty much, because we are talking about a friction folder. And one specific quality of a friction folder is that there's no lock or spring or whatever at all. So I can move the blade against a little bit of resistance, just against the friction it creates, and I can open and close it, and there's nothing which prevents it from moving. The main thing you notice, of course, is the extended blade tang. And this has two purposes. The first purpose, of course, is to open the blade easily. You can do just like that. And the second purpose is, and that is the main feature, if you are grabbing the knife for any cutting core, any cutting task, you have your thumb right here on the handle, which is kind of a natural position for cutting. You prevent the blade from being closed. And this is a pretty simple but genius way of keeping your blade open in a safe way, without the need of any advanced techniques or mechanisms or springs or locks or whatever. So that's the reason why this kind of pocket knife is around for a couple of centuries already. And of course, this is a modern interpretation of it in regard of the materials and all, but the basic feature of it is very old.
So Mark, would you say that for you guys, having in mind that a friction lock would also be, of course, interesting for, I assume, knife collectors, would you say that it also is still a usable or a very usable knife in the modern world?
Oh, definitely yes, because as I mentioned, it's a pretty simple mechanism, and it serves you well, whatever you do, as long as you're not trying to chop any wood or whatever, which you never should do with a folding knife, you know that, of course. As long as you have everyday's cutting tasks like preparing your food or open a box or a cardboard box or cutting things like that, it serves you very, very good. And of course, collectors which are looking for different locking mechanisms and things like that, they're interested in that as well. We definitely are not the first ones who produce a friction folder, and we're not the only ones right now, but there are not that many on the market. So this is a nice addition on the market, and I think also collectors will look for it.
So now that we've talked about the locking or non-locking mechanism, please run down all the other features. For example, what type of steel did you use for the blade?
Oh, sure. We are using 440C, which is very nice steel in the medium range. It's pretty easy to maintenance that steel too.
You don't need the big rock in your man cave in order to keep this knife
exactly
sharp.
And we added a nice satin finish on that one. And the handle, by the way, is made out of G10, which is one of the preferred handle materials over the last decade, I would say.
All right.
It's a very rugged material. It's very, very durable. It's not sensitive against temperature or any other influences. So overall, the knife is pretty lightweight, especially for a knife with 3.8 millimeter blade thickness and a blade length of approximately 9 centimeters. So this is definitely a full-size folding knife, but it still weighs below 100 grams.
Below 100 grams. That is actually on the lightweight side of things. So one thing that I don't handle knives as much as firearms, but when I do handle knives, or for example friction folders, I find that it might sometimes be a challenge to actually keep them retained in your pocket. And of course you guys also thought about this. So please give our viewers, or your viewers rather, an insight on what you guys came up with.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. The first important thing is we did not mount a clip, because the clip always is meant for carrying the knife in the pocket, and with an extended knife tang the blade would open pretty easy in the pocket.
Exactly.
So you don't do that. And what we did for that, we made a little Kydex sheath which just takes the upper part of the knife, and this gives you the possibility to carry it as a neck knife. That's one possibility, or just to put it in your rucksack or day pack or in the pockets of your pants. And this Kydex sheath keeps it safe and secured wherever you store the knife.
So it's funny that you guys kept maybe one of the oldest locking mechanisms in the world, and you paired it with modern technology such as Kydex or G10 back.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love this contrast between concept and traditional and modern styles. I think a mixture of that is always an interesting thing.
Also, you guys can see it's a good retention, so you can actually use it as a neck knife without having to fear that it falls down.
Absolutely.
Overall, very nice blade.
Our next product is an extension of the Bluewood knife series, which we launched 2 years ago. And the overall features of the Bluewood knife series is the walnut handle. It's the blued liners.
Very
and
nice.
Also the blued clip.
All right.
It comes with a titanium coated blade made out of 440C. So these are the overall features of the Bluewood knife series.
So Mark, you told me earlier that some of your viewers might recognize this because it actually is a already established platform as far as the grip goes, but the blade is different to your earlier product.
Yeah, you're right with that. The handle is exactly the same one like from the Bluewood Knife 4, which features a tanto blade. And of course, a tanto is a very distinctive blade shape. And it's a blade shape which has a lot of advantages.
A lot of fans also.
Definitely, but not everybody likes it.
That's true.
So what we made is we designed a spare point blade with a nail nick, which fits pretty perfect in that handle. It gives you a very nice overall line, a very nice appearance. And the versatility of the spare point blade is slightly increased, I would say, over the tanto blade.
So you basically matched a more classical form or shape of the blade to your established grips already. And when I handled it earlier, I found out it's actually pretty massive blade. That's a lot of blade there is to go for a knife. How much in terms of length are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about 10 centimeter blade length.
All right.
Definitely. So for a folding knife, this is definitely on the large side of knives.
It is. It is, especially if you have small hands like I do.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
But let's not get into this.
Yeah. Two more features, just to mention that. The knife comes with a liner lock, so it's pretty easy to disengage, just like you know the liner lock for many years. The other feature is that we were looking for an ambidextrous design in regard of our left-handed customers, because the clip is reversible. So you can take it off the right side and attach it on the left side, which means the threads are already there.
So also there you guys go the way of establishing the trend of ambidextrous design and ambidextrous features also in your knife product.
Absolutely, they are.
So as you guys can see, all right, this is already indeed, it is on the larger side of things as far as it comes to pocket knives rather. So this is actually, look at this, I like those features. This is a good match in form in terms of pairing wood to actually colored metal. Look at this. Look at these. This is gorgeous. Mark, thank you for running down the features on the Bluewood Knife 7. Now when we talk about knives, it is time to actually get to the subcompact carry type of knife. So let's see what you have there.
So what we have here is our Matak 5, which is a nice mixture between a small machete and a large knife. It's kind of a big camp knife, or as I mentioned, a small machete. So it's a very specific and very special style we created here. It's a tanto blade. And it's a blade length a little bit more than 30 centimeters.
All right.
So it's 31.5 centimeters to be specific. We have a gray titanium coated 440C blade.
For people who love colorful knives.
Absolutely, yeah. And we have a walnut handle and the G10 bolster.
All right.
So this is a very nice appearance overall. And it's a very special style because there are not that many knives in that size and shape around there. So the walnut handle adds pretty easy in your hand. It grabs pretty good. And we have 5mm blade thickness, which adds a lot of strength to the blade. And this makes it a pretty versatile and unique piece of cutlery work, definitely. You might want to try that.
I love when people refer to knives or machetes as cutlery because it gives this such a classic tone to it while handling just a knife, or rather a machete like this. So my first impression from handling it, it does really have some weight, right? It has the weight that you might believe it has. But when I look at it, I was wondering, this is a full tang element, right?
Absolutely. So it's one piece of steel from the pommel end up to the tip of the blade. And just the handle scales and the bolsters are attached from the side. So this gives you a lot of strength because that's one solid piece of steel from here to there.
So guys, there you have it. Is it a knife? Is it a machete? It's up to you to figure it out. It's the Matak 5 made by Walter. So now we're getting to the more classic shape and forms of pocket knives. Mark, introduce our viewers. What do we have here?
So basically we're talking about a very traditional style of pocket knives, which is originated in the USA. So this style of knives with the double bolsters, in this case made out of stainless steel, and the clip point blade is a very traditional American hunting pocket knife, basically. Especially with that blade size, we are talking about almost 10 centimeters, 9.5 centimeters approximately. We have a 440C blade steel with a nice satin finish, and of course we have the characteristic back lock, which means just press here and the blade is released.
This is I believe, one of the most known locking mechanisms in the world of knives.
Oh yeah, definitely. The back lock gives you no questions or no riddles or whatever. You just press it with a thumb and it releases the blade. And this is a very specific type of knife for the USA. I mentioned that already. And especially the clip point blade or Bowie style blade is...
That's a classic, right?
It's a classic one in the USA, also in Germany as well. But the German hunter, for example, would rather go for a drop point blade, which is the reason why we added the classic drop next to the classic clip.
So guys, there you have it. No matter where you are on what side you are on the Atlantic, whether you are in the USA or in Europe, whether you're a hunter or an outdoor enthusiast, you can always choose the right style, form and shape of the blade. But we were talking earlier that this is somehow the big variant of this classic knife, because you guys also came up with, I want to say, a more compact form.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When we are talking more about EDC cutting tasks and an everyday knife, we also added the classic drop 2 and the classic clip 2. So the little brothers of these knives, which feature a blade length about 8.5 centimeter for the classic drop and 8.7 centimeter for the classic clip, which makes it a little bit more comfortable to carry over the day. And this is sufficient for an everyday cutting task. Maybe the hunter would prefer the large versions, but the everyday user would prefer it like that. And all 4 knives come with a leather holster, so a leather belt pouch to keep the knife with you all the time.
So guys, if you're an enthusiast of classic shapes or forms of pocket knives, whether it's full size or more compact for the EDC enthusiasts, Walter has you covered.
So over the last years, also our hunter customers are taking more and more note of the Walter knives as a supplier for hunting knives. And in addition to our hunting knife line, we added our premium skinner, which is pretty easily identified as a skinner because of the big belly blade you see here, which is made for dressing your game and all that. But of course, it's a multi-purpose hunting knife as well, and not only hunting, but also outdoor knife.
So you guys are actually more on the radar for hunters?
More and more over the last years. I definitely could say that at the moment we are still we have a pretty heavy tendency to the tactical knife sector, but the hunters see what we are doing over the last years, and like our hunter knife set, for example, which gives you a full set of tools for hunting. It's a pretty popular knife, and things like that are a little bit more the traditional way of a hunting knife, with a walnut handle scale, with a brass and fiber layers over here, with a satin finish blade and all that, with a nice leather sheath. And this makes it a pretty good companion for it. And the size of this knife, I mean, especially the blade length, it's created like that to make it easy to cover the blade tip with your index finger, just to dress the game and to open up the animal or the deer or whatever, because this prevents you from cutting too deep.
So Mark, what type of steel are we talking about?
We're talking about 440C with a nice satin finish here.
So guys, if you did not have Walter on your radar, you definitely do now. Mark, thank you for your time, and let me close with the German saying for hunters, weit man's Heil.
Moritz, thank you very much.